Good morning and welcome to Algebra 1 for Monday, May 4th. Today I'm just going to reinforce the fact that we're graphing from vertex form and that the assignment is IXL BB.5 to 85% and that's due tomorrow. Okay, quick review so that we know what we're doing. I've been looking at the work that you guys have been submitting and most of it's very good. One common problem is when you're choosing your inputs. Some of you guys aren't choosing all that super carefully. So I'm going to give you an example and we'll see how to better handle this because there's really two areas where we're struggling. One is choosing inputs. The other is following the order of operations to solve a problem. So here we have our vertex form. We hopefully recognize by now that the vertex is the opposite of this number and whatever that number says. That's the HK part. And that tells us the vertex. So our vertex is -4, -2. And most of you have had no problem with that. So if you want to make your t-table, we put the vertex right there in the middle. All right, and we'll go nice and slow so it's nice and easy. The vertex is right there in the middle, -4, -2. You are going to choose your inputs, 2 above and 2 below the vertex. You're just going to subtract 1 twice and then add 1 twice to find out what those inputs should be. That says -4. I'm going to subtract 1 to get -5 and subtract 1 more to get -6 because we're moving to the left 1 unit and then 1 more unit. And then from the vertex, I'm going to add 1 and add 1 again. So it was -4, adding 1, I get -3, adding another 1, I get -2. Some of you guys were talking in comments to me about, well, I said there's symmetry. Absolutely, there's symmetry in the graph and it's seen in the outputs, not the inputs. The inputs are a straight line of numbers, okay? When you're plugging in the values, the outputs you find should show the vertical symmetry. So let's plug in the numbers. I'm going to plug in a -6. Once again, we're just demonstrating the right order of operations. The reason for this is just to reinforce how we're going to go about solving the problem. And again, remember, you are allowed to use a calculator, by all means. Use parentheses where they're indicated. Make sure you're only squaring what needs to be squared. Be very careful. You can also use Desmos to graph it, and you can see what the point should be. So, PEMDAS says parentheses first. So inside the parentheses, I have -6 plus 4. That is -2. Squared minus 2. I've taken care of what's inside parentheses. The second letter in PEMDAS, the E, stands for exponent. -2 is being squared. Whenever you square any number, the result is positive. 2 times 2 is 4. -2 times -2, also 4. So -2 squared is 4. Remember, squared means times itself, not times 2. Now that I've covered the exponent, now there's a multiplication problem here. -1/2 times 4. And that is -2. Minus 2 more is -4. And that is my output for that input. I'll do one more for you for the example. So we'll take the -5. Y equals -1/2. Parentheses, -5 plus 4, quantity squared minus 2. And again, if you use the parentheses correctly and you're careful, you could use the calculator for this in one step. It's not a problem. Inside the parentheses, I have -5 plus 4. That's -1 squared minus 2. Now that I've covered the parentheses, I'm going to cover the power. -1 squared is just 1. -1 times -1. Positive 1. So that's what we get when we square it. Now I'm going to take that number, that -1/2 that was outside, and multiply it by the 1. -1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2. Minus 2 more is negative 2 1/2. So that's what goes here. Now, if we do everything correctly, these two outputs should reflect. So I should get negative 2 1/2 again, and then negative 4, if we do everything correctly. So again, I have confidence that I'm doing it correctly, but I'll show you. So y equals negative 1/2, we'll plug in a negative 3 this time, plus 4 squared minus 2. Again, we cover the parentheses first. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. And now I'm going to square it. 1 squared is still 1. And now I'm going to multiply it by the negative 1/2, which is negative 1/2, minus 2, which is negative 2 1/2, as we expected it to be. All right, I'll break the suspense. When I plug in negative 2, I will get negative 4. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 1/2 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 2, negative 4. Okay, so we will get the symmetry we were looking for. And we can graph it without too much stress, I think. We need negative x and negative y for the most part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good enough. Negative 6, negative 4 is over here. Negative 5, negative 2 1/2. We'll round over there. Negative 4, negative 2. Negative 3, negative 2 1/2. And negative 2, negative 4. We can sketch our parabola. And that's all you had to do for BB.5. Okay? For tonight, all I want you to do is finish BB.5 to at least 85%. Again, remember, the vertex is that turning point. Because this parabola opens down, the vertex is at the top, called a maximum. We see that it's increasing as we reach the vertex and then decreasing afterwards on the way down. And tomorrow we'll start something new. So please finish BB.5 to at least 85% and have a wonderful day.